Perfect. What's our batch code? 1102, right, boss? Yesterday, we understood importance of Spring Data JPA. What is persistence? How many ways of writing persistence? Why IO streams outdated? Why JDBC outdated? What is ORM? How we can use Hibernate to write ORM logic? Later we got Spring ORM providing abstraction on ORM. Later we got Spring Data JPA providing abstraction on what? Hibernate. Like this, multiple aspects we discussed or not, guys? Okay. Today we are already having Hibernate. You don't want to use Hibernate directly. We got Spring ORM providing abstraction on Hibernate. Spring Data JP also providing abstraction on what? Hibernate. That provides abstraction, this provides more abstraction. But what made them to think about giving Spring Data JPA providing abstraction on Hibernate, though they already got one more module called Spring ORM providing the abstraction on what? Same old Hibernate. Providing the abstraction on what? Same old Hibernate. Getting my point, guys? Come on, everyone. Getting my point, guys? I want reply, boss. Come on. Got the clarity, boss? Need of Spring Data JPA, Spring Data module. Spring Data is main module. Come on. Spring Data JPA, MongoDB, Cassandra. All these are the sub-modules in Spring Data module. Today we are going to discuss about the difference. Why do we need Spring Data module? What is need of Spring Data module? Why having lot of sub-modules? What's the advantage of working with the Spring Data module compared to Spring ORM module, right? So first of all, you observe Spring Data is main module name and it is having lots of sub-modules like Spring Data JPA for SQL database software, Spring Data MongoDB, Spring Data Cassandra. All these are for what? NoSQL database software. Nearly 30 plus modules are there, guys. In that we are going to learn two modules. Most popular NoSQL database software in the market is what? MongoDB. That's why Spring Data, MongoDB are going to learn. Most popular SQL database software in the market is what? Oracle. Not only Oracle, other things also popular. But SQL database software we are going to use what? Spring Data JPA. Two modules out of 30. So first of all, we'll try to understand why Spring Data module came into picture. Before that, I must explain what is the difference between SQL database softwares and NoSQL database software. When should I go for SQL? When should I go for NoSQL database software? Are you getting my point there, guys? Come on. Yeah, tell me, guys. We can also tell that RDBMS for Spring Data JPA, SQL database softwares are generally what? RDBMS. RDBMS is only introduced what? SQL queries. So you say SQL or RDBMS, one and the same, guys. SQL database software. Oracle, MySQL, PostgreSQL and etc. NoSQL database software. MongoDB, Cassandra, Couchbase, Neo4j, big list is there, guys. Okay, now listen. I want to have product details in Amazon. But Amazon sells only textile products, only electronic products, only cosmetic products, only agriculture products. It sells almost every category product. Yes, na boss? Almost all means almost all. It deals with all. Do you think products will have same attributes? Say something, boss. Textile product parameters are different from agriculture product. Agriculture product attributes are different from cosmetics. So, can I have fixed data for each product of Amazon, guys? Category to category information is changing, but I want to keep all products information in a single table, not with fixed attribute, with dynamically changing attribute, count wise, information wise. In that situation, don't prefer SQL database software. Prefer what? NoSQL database software. Why? Because in NoSQL database software, no table, no records. For example, you take MongoDB, every information will be stored as a document. And the document is a JSON document internally, key value pairs, right? Not compulsory two documents should have same information or similar information or same attribute information. First document may talk about product details about textile shirt. Second document may talk about cosmetic details, product detail. Third document may talk about, come on guys, electronic product detail whose attributes are totally different, right? When you feel your information is not having fixed structure, fixed attribute, no fixed schema, okay, then prefer working with what? NoSQL database software. When you feel your information is having fixed structure, fixed attributes, and fixed schema, then prefer working with what? SQL database software. I want to gather employee information, guys. Max of 40 details. They make you less than 40, but max of 40 details they want to give. A fixed attribute for every employee. Okay, someone extra, someone less, not like that. In the 40, you may ignore few things, right? But max of 40 is required for all the employees. In that situation, better to go for what? SQL. Amazon product SQL is better, no SQL is better. Employee information, okay, customer information, yes or no? Na? According to the application requirement, sometimes SQL, sometimes no SQL. In one project, if you want, you can entertain both SQL and what? No SQL database software. Is it not interesting, Rababu? Come on. Okay, see. If application is dealing with if application is dealing with formatted data and having fixed amount of attribute, then prefer SQL database software to store the data. Employee having max of 30 details, customer having max of 20 detail. Fixed structure of information. If one DB table is having multiple records with the different counts of attributes or column value, but allocating memory for even for unfilled column value is meaningless or not, guys. So, for example, DB table in Oracle having 20 columns, right? 4 details, 6 details, 20 details. Though we kept 4 details, though we kept 6 details, memory will be allocated for all the 20 details or not? Tomorrow, if I want to store with 30 details, possible or not possible? Each record size cannot be increased or decreased what? Dynamically. If application is getting unstructured data dynamically, growing data, and not having what? Fixed schema data, then prefer using NoSQL database software. Then prefer using what? NoSQL database software. Are you understanding my statement, guys? Okay, guys. If application is getting unstructured data dynamically, growing data, not having fixed schema data, then prefer using what? NoSQL. NoSQL database software does not maintain DB table records. In fact, they maintain documents, graphs, trees, and etc., which don't need any structure or any fixed schema. Which don't need any structure, any fixed schema. Clear, my dear? Got the point, guys? Come on. Okay, see guys, records in MongoDB will be stored as a document. Check it out. Doc 1 with 5 details of customer 1, 10 details of customer 2, 100 details of customer 3, 5 details of customer 4. Here docs are representing unstructured and uneven, dynamically changing data without what? Fixed attribute. Final conclusion, guys. Prefer storing data in SQL database software only when the data is having fixed attributes and fixed structure. Employees of department having fixed number of max attribute. Fixed number of max attribute. Prefer storing data in what? NoSQL database software only when the data is not having fixed attributes and fixed structure. Fixed attributes and fixed structure. Are you getting my point there, guys? Come on. Everyone. Only when data is having fixed attributes and what? Fixed structure. Alright, guys. Employee information in software company. Fixed structure use what? SQL database software. Product information in e-commerce store. Dynamic structure. Use what? NoSQL. Employees of a department having fixed number of maximum attribute. Flipkart product details. Electronic products will have 10 different attributes. Clothing products will have 20 different attributes. All these details can be stored in the form of what? Docs in NoSQL database software. Though they have different attributes. Though they have different attributes. Clear, guys? Got the point, my dear? I think these many days you heard about SQL, NoSQL database software. Do you have a clarity when to go for which one? Not there. When you feel information is can have maximum fixed attributes, go for SQL database software. When you feel information cannot have what? Fixed attributes. Then prefer thinking about what, guys? NoSQL database software. Are you getting my point there, guys? Come on. Need of Spring Data module or Spring Data module. Spring Boot data module. Okay. Now listen. Before reading the lines, first of all, I have to explain one point. Before arrival of Spring Data module, we used to have Spring ORM module to interact with only SQL database software by getting abstraction on Hibernate. To interact with the same SQL database software in JDBC style, not in OR mapping style, we used to have Spring JDBC module. That means there is no module to interact with NoSQL database software. That means to interact with MongoDB specific code from Spring application. To interact with Cassandra specific code in the Spring application. To interact with what? Neo4j specific code in Spring application. That means the way we interact with the SQL database software using ORM and what? JDBC is totally different from the way we interact with what? NoSQL database software. Lot of manual work, lot of hard work we have to do, especially while dealing with what? NoSQL database software. Before arrival of Spring Data module, there is no provision, there is no facility to seriously interact with what, guys? NoSQL database software. Some extent we have facilities to interact with what? SQL database software. But day to day, NoSQL database softwares are increasing their popularity because day to day data has become important. And the one who can store unstructured data, dynamically growing data, is the great database software, right? Come on, guys. Right now, it's the time of data working with the data, boss. Unstructured data, time to time changing data. Are you listening my statement, boss? Come on. Okay, that's why Spring Data module has come saying that I provide unified model to interact with both SQL and NoSQL. Though SQL is different, NoSQL is different. But from Spring point of view, you can interact with them in a similar fashion. You can interact with what? Both SQL and NoSQL database software in the similar fashion. Is it not interesting, Rababu? Is it not interesting? I want reply from you people, guys. We can interact with both SQL and NoSQL database software by using Spring Data module in the unified model. For example, I'll take real life example, then you'll understand by connecting it very fastly. In your home, 5 to 6 electronic devices are there. AC is there, fan is there, TV is there, okay, sound system is there. For AC remotes, for TV remotes, for sound system remotes. Say something, my dear, come on. For sound system related remotes. Come on, boss. Okay. For other remotes, for other devices, other remotes. We need to know how to operate these remotes separately or not, guys. We need to know how to operate these remotes separately or not, guys. Are you getting my point there? Come on. Are you getting my point there, guys? Come on. Okay, nowadays we got one new concept called universal remote, guys. If you are having MI phone, in MI phone also one option is there, universal remote, right? Yes, no, no, boss. Okay, by using MI phone universal remote or physically purchased universal remote, using one remote, you can control all the devices of the home or not. You can happily control all the devices of the home. Is it not interesting aspect, boss? Is it not interesting aspect, boss? I want reply, my dear. Come on. Spring Data module is like universal remote which can be used to interact with what? Both SQL and NoSQL database software in a unified model. What process procedure you are using to interact with the SQL database software to perform code operation? Almost same procedure you can use to interact with what? NoSQL database software and to perform code operation on what? NoSQL. NoSQL database softwares are technically different from SQL database software, but still the way we interact with both of them from our Spring application is going to be same. So that's why Spring Data module is acting as what? Universal remote. Operate any electronic device. Okay, each device is different from other device. SQL is different from NoSQL. In NoSQL, so many varieties of database softwares are there. But are you going to bother, boss? No. When you are working with Spring Data module, you can interact with both SQL and what? NoSQL database software. In what model? Unified model. Unified means what process you followed for SQL. Similar process you can also for what? NoSQL. But NoSQL party is different, structure is different, process is different. But no problem. Spring Data will take care of that one, guys. Come on. Material on screen not seen are only heading. Super, guys. Change your network first. Before arrival of Spring Data module to Spring Boot framework. Spring application used to work with Spring JDBC to work with what? SQL database software in JDBC style. Same Spring application is using Spring ORM to interact with what? SQL database software in what style? OR mapping style. What style, guys? What style, guys? OR map. Spring application uses MongoDB API plus MongoDB driver to interact with what? MongoDB database software, which is NoSQL. It is directly native API, original API we have to use. No module in Spring, no abstraction from Spring. Here, Spring ORM provides abstraction on Hibernate. This provides abstraction on plain JDBC. That means somewhat simplification is there. But in Spring wants to talk with MongoDB, no simplification. Original MongoDB API you have to use. Okay. Abstraction on JDBC. Next, abstraction on, what is this? On Hibernate. Abstraction on Hibernate. Here what? OR mapping style. Native code. Here also what code, guys? Native code. Everywhere native code or not, boss? The way of writing persistent logic in Spring before the arrival of Spring Data JPA is like working with what, guys? Working with what? Multiple remotes to operate multiple devices in our home, right, guys? Before arrival of Spring Data module, there is no module in what? Spring framework to interact with NoSQL database software. That means what, guys? We need to use NoSQL database software specific APIs and drivers directly for communication. This is the problem before arrival of what, guys? Spring Data module. Okay, we have abstraction only on JDBC Hibernate to simplify process of interacting with SQL. no abstraction, no module to simplify the process of talking with what? MongoDB. That's why we are forced to work with what? Native API, original MongoDB APIs, original MongoDB drivers for communication, which is very, 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 very bad or not, guys? Okay. Spring is not having any module to interact with NoSQL database software before arrival of Spring Data module. Before arrival of Spring Data module, there is no single unified mechanism to talk to both SQL and NoSQL database software from Spring. That means we need to use different APIs to interact with what? Different types of SQL, NoSQL database softwares. Clear, boss? Got the point, my dear? I want reply, my dear. Spring Data provides single unified model to interact with what? Both SQL and NoSQL database software by providing lots of submodules. What modules, guys? Lots of submodules. Check it out. This is Spring Data module using JPA, JDBC and interacting with what? SQL database software. Spring Data module internally using what? Submodule, CouchDB, Cassandra, Solaris, MongoDB, Neo4j, Redis, and etc. to interact with the NoSQL database software or not, guys? This is the main module. These are the submodule. Spring Data main module uses submodules JPA and JDBC to interact with what? SQL. Same Spring Data main module uses what? The submodule interact with what? NoSQL database software to interact with the NoSQL database software. Clear, my dear? Got the point, my dear? I want reply, guys. The way we write persistent logic in Spring or Spring Boot after arrival of Spring Data module is like working with what? Single universal remote to operate all kinds of electronic devices. To operate all kinds of electronic devices. Are you understanding my statement, guys? Come on. Super, guys. Spring Data module provides abstraction on multiple technologies and frameworks to simplify interaction with what? SQL, NoSQL database software in unified model environment. It is like a universal remote or not, guys? It is like a universal remote or not, guys? Universal remote. Here I have given that point. The way we write persistent logic in Spring Boot, arrival of Spring Data module is like working with what? Single universal remote to operate all kinds of electronic devices. All kinds of electronic device. Important submodules of what? Spring Data module. One is Spring Data JPA. Provides abstraction on what? ORM frameworks like Hibernate, IBTs, and etc. Next, Spring Data JDBC provides abstraction on what? JDBC technology. Spring Data MongoDB, guys, provides abstraction on what? MongoDB API. So Spring Data JPA, Spring Data JDBC. What's the difference, guys? It provides abstraction on Hibernate, ORM style logic. Here JDBC style logic. Okay, nowadays no one is dealing with the JDBC style logic. You can still work with what? Spring Data JPA. Yeah. If you are learning Spring Data JPA, there is no need of learning Spring JDBC module, Spring ORM module separately. Because latest way of interacting with SQL database software is what? Spring Data JPA. I think this is the major point which I want to resist in your brain. I hope it is registered, guys. Please, why we are going for Spring Data module? Simple reason. Before arrival of that module, we used to have modules in Spring talking with the SQL database software, getting some abstraction on what? JDBC and Hibernate. Definitely we are enjoying abstraction. When it comes to NoSQL database software, no modules, no abstraction, direct communication. Unfortunately, nearly 7 to 8 popular NoSQL database softwares are there. We need to interact with each NoSQL database software separately by knowing its API. Very, 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 very bad. Day-to-day NoSQL database software utilization is increasing, and Spring says no module, no abstraction. You do your work on your own by learning original APIs of those database softwares, which is not digestible, which is not acceptable, right? After coming to Spring and Spring Boot, if I am writing native code, it is shame for Spring and Spring Boot, right? Yes or no? Na? Your cousin is there who is earning 20 lakh per month and he is in the party and you are paying bill who is drawing just 1 lakh per month. Shame on cousin or to you? There will be greedy people, that's a different story. Okay. It is definitely shame for your cousin, right? When big person is there, aged person is there who is earning good amounts, and if he is not ready to sponsor small what bills also, it is not shame for what members who are earning. It's shame for a person who is earning, who is a aged person and earning a lot but not able to spend money. After learning Spring Boot, you're still writing MongoDB plain code in Spring application to interact with MongoDB. It's not shame for the developer, it's a shame for what? Spring and Spring Boot people. They analyzed a lot. Okay, they come up with this solution. And that super solution, guys. Such a solution. Technically, there are so many differences between SQL and NoSQL. But when you are interacting with them from Spring application using Spring Data and submodule, we feel both are same. But technically, internally, so many differences are there. The way you insert record in what? SQL database table. Almost same procedure you follow to insert the document or to insert some other thing in NoSQL database software. In fact, you use same methods. You'll call same method and you'll feel almost same to same with the minor changes you have to recognize. That's the reason I compared with what? Universal remote. Same remote to operate TV, same remote to operate AC, same remote to operate other devices in your home. It's all about switching from one to another. That's it. These are the main modules, guys. In main module, data JPA, MongoDB are too important. Then we have got community modules, guys. So many community modules are there. Check it out. Spring application or Spring Boot application uses what? OR mapping persistence logic, guys. Come on, guys. That uses what? Spring Data JPA. That internally some extent uses what? ORM. That ORM internally uses what? ORM framework like Hibernate. Hibernate uses what? JDBC technology. JDBC uses what? Driver and interacts with what? Database software. This is one angle. Another angle is Spring or Spring Boot application having JDBC style persistence logic that uses what? Spring Data JDBC that uses what? Spring JDBC plus ORM framework that in turn provides abstraction on what? JDBC technology. Then talks with this. So So ultimately, what guys? They are just increasing the layers of abstraction. But based on this, can we say JDBC is outdated? Directly or indirectly, any persistence operation on database in Java, we must and should need JDBC. Why, sir? Database software at max can understand what, guys? SQL query. In Java, at bottom line, who is capable of sending and executing SQL queries? JDBC code. So you increase X layer, Y layer, Z layer. At the end, it has to use what? JDB, especially SQL database software. No SQL, native API should be used. Right now, I'm highlighting only SQL database softwares, boss. Not at all. No SQL database software. What is JPA? I think we already discussed all this stuff. It is a software specification providing rules and guidelines to develop ORM software like Hibernate, IBTs, and etc. Guys, come on. Sun Microsystem or Oracle has provided JPA and having rules and guidelines. Multiple ORM softwares are there or not there? Multiple ORM softwares are there or not there, guys? Come on. Super. JPA is the theory or plan. ORM software is the software that is given based on what? JPA theory. What is the difference between ORM and JPA? ORM mapping is a style of persistence logic development. For the style of programming, JPA provides rules and guidelines to vendor companies to create ORM softwares. Are very simple. Based on JPA plan, ORM softwares are created. Using this ORM software, we develop ORM mapping persistence logic. Clear, guys? ORM is style of logic, guys. For that one, it needs ORM software. And these ORM softwares are created based on what? JPA rules and guidelines. JPA rules and guidelines. Are you getting my point, boss? Come on. Yeah, it is something like this, guys. Okay, now listen, it's something like this. In India, all insurance businesses will be controlled by a company called IRDA, Insurance Regulatory Department Authority. Insurance Regulatory Development Authority. ऐसा नोना boss? That provides rules and guidelines to all the companies how to do insurance business in India. ऐसा नोना boss? Okay. LIC, SBI Life, Tata AG, all these are insurance companies who do business. Come on, guys. Who do business based on that IRDA guidelines or not? Who just do business based on that IRDA guidelines or not, boss? I want reply, my dear. Based on that IRDA guideline, they start doing business or not, guys? Come on. Everyone getting my point there, guys. Come on. LIC, SBI Life, Tata AG, a number of things are there or not there? For example, in India, who controls telephone business, guys? Mobile business and telephone business. Huh? Right. TRAI, Telephone Regulatory Authority of India. Okay, they provide rules and guidelines how to do telecommunication business in India. Yes. Who are those doing business? Reliance Jio, Airtel, VI. These companies are doing business or not? According to TRAI guidelines or not? So for all ORM software, JPA specification provides what? Rules and guidelines. The JPA specification provides what? Rules and guidelines. Everyone understanding my statement, guys? Come on. All insurance companies in India controlled by IRDA because the IRDA gives the guidelines to insurance companies to do business in what? Insurance domain. So JPA is like IRDA, JPA is like a TRI, JPA like RBI. Who controls the banks in India? Come on. Super. ORM is the concept of persistence logic development. JPA programming gives rules and guidelines for ORM persistence logic development. ORM frameworks are real softwares or tools that allows to implement what? OR mapping persistence logic according to JPA rules and guidelines. Are a very simple boss. Using ORM software, we develop OR mapping persistence logic according to JPA rules and guidelines. JPA theory, ORM framework. JPA is like Java course browser. Okay, ORM frameworks are like what? Faculties who are conducting classes based on the Java course browser. Yes or no, na boss? Full and final conclusion is instead of working with each type of database software individually, you enjoy Spring Data module that provides what? Unified model to interact with both the SQL and NoSQL database software. Is it not interesting, Babu? Come on. Okay, now I'll launch from scratch level. First, plain JDBC code and its problems. Then plain Hibernate code and its problems. Plain Spring ORM code and its problems. Come on, guys. Then I will give Spring Data JPA code and its advantages. Right now, keep just in SQL database softwares in mind, nothing else. Okay, guys. Plain JDBC code. Load JDBC driver class. Establish the connection. Create statement object. Send and execute SQL query in database software. Gather SQL query results. Process them, guys. Come on. Handle the exception. Perform transaction management. Close the JDBC objects, right? Common logic 1, common logic 2. Here is what? Application specific logics are not, guys. Here is what, guys? Application specific logic. Plain JDBC code, JDBC technology code, right? Common logics, application specific logic, again common logics. Clear, guys? Got the point, my dear? I want reply, guys. Come on, everyone. Okay. What's the problem with plain JDBC code? Tell me. Developers should write both common logics and application specific logics. That means a lot of boilerplate code is there. Come on, guys. So biggest problem with plain JDBC code is what? Boilerplate code. See, only these two things will change application to application, logic to logic, requirement to requirement, right, boss? Only these two things will change, logic to logic, application to application. Agree with me, my dear? But interesting is, come on, guys. Can we write only those two lines directly? No. To send and execute queries, we need statement object. To create statement object, we need connection object. To create connection object, we need to load the JDBC driver software, right, boss? Perfect or not, guys? Come on. Developer should write both common logics and application specific logic in plain JDBC technology based persistence logic development. That is nothing but what? Boilerplate code problem. What problem, guys? Okay. The code that repeats across the multiple parts of the project, either with no changes or with minor changes, is called boilerplate code, guys. Come on, guys. Understood my statement, guys. Got the clarity, my dear. Come on, I want reply from you people. Code that repeats across the multiple parts of the project, either with no changes or with minor changes, is called boilerplate code. So this is the biggest problem with JDBC. Plain Hibernate code, which internally uses JDBC na boss. Yeah. Create configuration object. Listen, we are not going to learn plain Hibernate, but we are going to study what is what. Create configuration object that activates Hibernate framework. Create session factory object that activate multiple services. Number one, connection pool. Number two, dialect. Dialect means what? Which is able to generate SQL queries internally. Come on. Like this, it will activate multiple services. Using the session factory object, create session object. Session object is the object using which we do all persistence operations. It is like statement object, guys. In Hibernate programming, session object is like connection plus plus. What is that? Session object is like what? Connection plus plus. Connection plus many other operations. Come on, guys. Yeah, using this session object, what we do, guys? Write persistence logic using session object and entity class object. In war mapping persistence logic, we do all persistence operation through entity class objects only, na? Using session object and entity class object, we try to write the persistence logic or not, guys? Perform transaction management. Close the session comma session factory objects. Close the session comma session factory objects. Are you comfortable, my dear? I want reply from you people, guys. Come on. Super, guys. But observe very carefully. It activates Hibernate framework, activates multiple services. It gets this connection session object as a connection object. Using that session object and entity object, we are going to develop objects based persistence logic or not, guys? And lastly, next one, transaction management. Close the session factory object. These three are common every time. These three are common every time. Only this will change time to time. Come on. Again, boilerplate code problem is there. Though Hibernate is built on the top of JDBC, it may be solving JDBC related boilerplate code problem. It has got its own boilerplate code problem or not, guys? Come on, my dear. So working with the plain Hibernate also giving what? Boilerplate code problem, right, guys? Developer should write both common logics and what? Application specific logic. Again, boilerplate code problem is there or not there? Super. Compared to plain JDBC, Hibernate is good. But in Hibernate also boilerplate problem is there. Yes or no? Na? Only advantage is no SQL queries. Everything through objects. Change of database software is easy. We can enjoy other features of Hibernate like what? Caching, versioning, timestamping, etc. Right? Don't think that here also boilerplate code problem na same as JDBC na. Why are you using sir? Don't use. Why are you using sir? Don't use. Did I say like that? It's good but not great. It's good but not great. Are you comfortable, guys? Come on. Getting my point, my dear. I want reply, boss. The code that repeats across the multiple parts of projects, either with no changes or with what? Minor changes, is called boilerplate code. Not. Plain JDBC code is SQL queries based persistence logic. What is that? Database software independent logic. Plain Hibernate code is objects based persistence logic. What is that? Database software independent logic, guys. Plain JDBC code is what? Software dependent because we are using SQL queries there. Plain Hibernate code is what? Objects based code. No SQL queries. That's why database software independent. See guys, sir, give me one example on paper. Not required. Not required. You will straight away enjoy Spring Data JPA. There's no meaning of spending time on old and outdated things. But are you able to feel it or not? In JDBC, SQL query based logic, boilerplate code is there. So Hibernate internal uses JDBC, but still it is having its own style boilerplate code. To overcome that, we can come to Spring ORM module, guys. Spring ORM code provides abstraction on what? Plain Hibernate, plain ORM framework like Hibernate. Listen, create Hibernate template class object. You don't believe, guys. This template object will take care of configuration, session factory, session, transaction management, closing of them. Common part is taken care by whom? Hibernate template. Develop persistence logic using what? Objects of entity class. Okay, only this is application specific logic. Hibernate template is taking care of common things or not, boss? Yes or no? Na? Compared to plain Hibernate, this is good. Compared to plain JDBC, also this is good. Your war mapping is allowed. No SQL queries. Still simplification compared to plain Hibernate. We can enjoy Hibernate all features. We can feel the abstraction on plain Hibernate code. Compared to plain JDBC, Hibernate is good, but still boilerplate problem is there. To overcome boilerplate problem, to take full benefits of Hibernate, we have to work with a Spring ORM or not, which provides abstraction on Hibernate and simplifies persistence logic development, right? Sir, game is over, na? Where is war? Spring Data JPA in this war. Spring ORM is providing abstraction on Hibernate and simplifying our persistence logic development or not? Yes or no? Na? From the beginning, JDBC code problem is what? Boilerplate code. In Hibernate code problem is what? Boilerplate code. Spring ORM is solving that problem or not? And that too providing abstraction on Hibernate. So we can still enjoy all Hibernate features. We can still enjoy all the benefits that are there in what? Hibernate. At the same time, abstraction. This is the best of best now, boss. This is definitely best of best or not. Say something, my dear. Chandipriya requesting to annotate the shared document. Yeah, madam. I think while you are sleeping, mouse got touched. Please get up. Okay. I know you have not done intentionally. Yeah, sir. I'm finding Spring ORM is the best. But you are still saying Spring Data JPA is best. Convince me, what is the problem that is there with what? Spring ORM. I will tell, boss. It is providing abstraction, but still we need to write the persistence logic. Abstraction means no logic, still some logics are there to run. Simplifies logic development, right? Okay, let us take a big project which is having 500 tables. How many tables? On each table, I decided to perform 10 persistence operation minimum extra. Yes, na boss? When I develop kind of persistence logic, how many DAO interfaces I should take, guys? 100. How many DAO IMPL classes I should take, guys? 500. In each DAO class, for each table specific, 10 persistence methods plus extra persistence methods. Tell me, you are end up what? Writing what? 500 classes having persistence logics for 500 tables. Moreover, what you have done for first table in first DAO class will be looking same in second DAO class for second table, will be looking almost similar in third DAO class for third table, guys. It looks very boring or not? Very boring or not? I want reply, my dear. Someone asking 500 tables will be there or not. If you take any Java serious big project, 500 tables are a minimum count only, not the maximum count. Project possibilities are there having 500 tables. Okay, forget about 500. Take 100 tables, 100 DAO interfaces, 100 DAO classes. In every DAO class, 10 persistence method doing the similar activity. Extra method doing extra activities. Looks like very boredom activity or not? Say something, my dear. This is not officially boilerplate code, but indirectly boilerplate code now was. Table 1 insert operation in first DAO IMPL. Second DAO IMPL, table 2 insert operation. Third DAO IMPL, table 3 insert operation. How many tables are there? 500. 500 times insert operation for 500 table. Don't you think it's looking boredom work? You are doing work, but there is no meaning in that work, right? Yes, no, na. Don't think Amirpet standard was. Think about company standard. Finding problem or not. Looking like quite repeating code, unnecessarily repeating code is happening or not. Yes, no, na. Convinced or not? Got the clarity or not? Have a look on this, guys. Limitation with the Spring ORM module. If project is having 500 DB tables and we are looking to perform an operation on all DB table, then we should develop many 500 DAO interfaces, 500 DAO IMPL classes, and 500 into 6, I'm assuming 6 methods. 6 method having common persistence logic activities plus additional method in each DAO IMPL class specific to project requirement. This is another kind of boilerplate code program. Are you able to visualize, guys? But don't you think this problem is there in plain JDBC and plain Hibernate? With more scale, it is there. Why? There are also 500 tables. There also what? 500 DAO interfaces, IMPL classes. Their headache is what? Common logic or specific logic? With magnitude, with higher magnitude problem is. The same problem is there in what? Plain Hibernate, while working with what? Plain Hibernate and also plain Hibernate and plain JDBC. This problem is also there. While working with what, guys? What is this? While working with plain Hibernate, what is that? Plain Hibernate and plain JDBC. We need to consider it or not, boss? We definitely need to consider this one as a problem or not, guys? Let's see the story. Let's see the story. Spring Data JPA code. What code, guys? Yeah, you have to put extra attention, guys. Please, everyone. Spring Data JPA code. Point to be noted. Everyone, please remember. While working with Spring Data JPA, don't read first listen. We are not going to develop any DAO IMPL class. Only DAO interface will be there. That too. This interface extends from other predefined interfaces in which some methods are already declared. So what happens? Your interface is empty interface extending from some interface in which 12 methods are there. 12 methods are as is inherited to your interface. Yes or no, na boss? No IMPL class from you. Then who writes the logic, guys? This is the beauty. This is the beauty. According to the table name or entity class name you specify in the interface creation, the Spring Data JPA generates dynamic in-memory proxy class implementing your DAO interface. To the DAO interface, how many methods are inherited? 12 methods are inherited. Those 12 methods are implemented inside the proxy class, having persistence logic according to given entity class and table. That means, are we developing persistence logic or that is a dynamically generated one? That means you have to just need to develop interface, empty interface or interface with method declaration. For basic operation, empty interface is sufficient because we are going to extend from what? Ready-made interfaces in which already multiple methods are there. They are inherited to your interface. Come on. Spring Data JPA internally generate in-memory proxy class, implementing your interface. In that one, inherited 12 methods are implemented, having logic for, according to what? Entity class and its table that is passed. So that means what? Are you writing persistence logic or you are totally not writing persistence logic? Abstraction is useful, or totally not writing persistence logic is useful. Spring ORM says, I reduce your code. Still you have to work your work. Still you have to do your work. Spring Data JPA says, hey programmer, take a interface, extend from ready-made repository interface like CRUD repository. From there, how many methods are inherited? 12. While creating interface, you specify your entity class that is linked with what? Table. Then you sleep. Then you sleep. I will develop a dynamic runtime generated in-memory proxy class implementing your interface. To that interface, how many methods are inherited? 12. I implement those methods performing code operation with respect to entity class and table that you are providing. With respect to entity class and table that you are providing. Is it not interesting, Babu? Come on. Is it not interesting, Babu? I want reply, boss. Want the clarity, my dear? Come on. Spring Data JPA code. Just create repository or DAO interface extending from the predefined repository interface, right? Declaration of code operation. How many methods are there? 10 to 20 methods. Okay, let us assume. See, a repository or DAO interface extending from predefined repository interface. Declaration of code operation methods. Okay, 10 to 12 methods will be there or not there. Right now, count is not important, guys. Some methods are there. Some methods are there. Are you getting my point there, guys? Come on. If needed, declare some custom method by following coding curve. Only declaration. Basically, empty interface. You want more and more custom operation. Declare some custom methods. Declare some custom methods. Are you getting my point there, guys? Come on. Super. With this, our task is done in Spring Data JPA. Are you getting my point there, guys? Come on. Super. Okay. Now listen carefully. How many tables are there? 500. How many interfaces I am going to develop? 500 are dirty fellows. In each interface, table related entity class I specify. End of the story. Basic code operations are coming, boss. Come on. You want extra logics? You have to write the code how to declare the methods. Now tell me, boss. In Spring ORM or plain JDBC or plain Hibernate, 500 interfaces with method declaration, 500 DAO IMPL classes, you should implement all the methods. In Spring Data JPA, when you have 500 tables, at maximum what you have to do? 500 interfaces you have to take. Basic code operations will be taken care by predefined interface that is inherited by your interface, right? I want reply, boss. I want reply. Come on, my dear. And if you want any custom logic, you need to just declare some extra methods. Life is going to be simplified or not, guys? Yeah, listen carefully. Just create repository or DAO interface extending from what? Predefined repository interface, declaration of code operation methods, right? Different types of repository interfaces are there, right, guys? With this, our task is done in what? Spring Data JPA. Advantages with the Spring Data JPA. Now, for 500 table, we just need to take what? 500 custom repository interfaces having optional custom method declaration. Tell me, guys, 500 interfaces development is easier. 500 interfaces plus implementation class development easier. Sir, who will provide logic for these interface? Spring Data JPA internally generates dynamic in-memory proxy classes implementing these interfaces. Whatever methods that are inherited to interface, they are implemented according to the entity class and table you pass. That means persistent logic we are developing automatically generated. We are developing automatically generated. Yeah, tell me. 500 tables, we just need to take 500 custom repository interfaces having optional custom method declaration. Having optional custom method declaration. Is that clear, guys? I want reply from you people. Come on, guys, everyone. See the conclusion? Conclusion. In JDBC application, boilerplate code problem. In Hibernate application, boilerplate code problem. Spring ORM application, one kind of boiler code problem. is avoided, but another kind of boiler code problem is added. For 500 table, we need to develop 500 interfaces, 500 DAY MPL classes having commonly used logics plus specific logic, special logic, right? Spring or Spring Boot data JPA application. All kinds of boiler code problems are solved. For 500 table, we just take what? 500 DAO repository interfaces, extending from what? Predefined repository interfaces. All logics will be generated dynamically generated proxy class in the dynamically generated proxy classes. So 500 interfaces I have taken means how many proxy classes will be generated? Five. Each class contains what? One entity class table related persistence logics. Total in 500 classes which are generated as proxy classes. 500 interface related logics will be there or not there? 500 interface related logics will be there or not there? Very interesting or not? Plain JDBC, washing clothes with hands. Hibernate, washing clothes with what? Detergent soap. Spring ORM, washing clothes with a semi-automated washing machine. So, okay. Spring data JPA, washing clothes with a fully automated washing machine. Keep everything there, sleep. Come back and collect the clothes. Nothing you have to do. You have to just switch on, switch off. Putting the clothes, putting the all the inputs, water, detergent, soap, whatever it is. You sleep. Once ready, it will give big beep sound. Go and collect the cloth. Immediately you don't collect. After some time you want to collect it. No problem. Auto off is also there. Did you ever expect in your life for one table? I just declare one interface, mostly empty interface. All operations are ready to use. Did you ever thought, boss? Especially while learning IOStream JDBC, did you ever thought, guys? But that is going to become reality now. How many tables I am going to have? 500. How many? What I am going to do to get a basic code operation logic? 500 interfaces declaration, extending from predefined interfaces. That's it. But in every interface, you are mention one entity class. Otherwise, how proxy class knows? In this class, I should write this entity class, this table related logics. Somewhere you have to mention that int now, boss. Okay, final conclusion, guys. I have 500 tables. How many entity classes I have to take in Spring Data JPA? 500. How many interfaces I should take, guys? In each interface, entity class name should be mentioned. Extend from predefined interfaces. Your job is done. Your job is done, boss. Your job is done. What Spring Data JPA will do for you? How many in-memory proxy classes it generate? How many? Each class implements how many interfaces? One repository interface. Each class contains how many entity class and tables logic? One entity class, one table logic. Yes or no? Na? Makes this in-memory proxy class objects as Spring Beans container. Can we inject to service class? Why not? Not only proxy class generation, Ram, those objects will be created and they are injectable to service class. Once they are injectable to service, in service happily we can call what? Business persistence method to complete our persistence operation or not. You will be shocked, my dear. Really, sir. Why? In mini project, DAO interface to method declaration, DAO MPL class, that code, that standard, this standard. We did hangama, right? Sorry. Not required. Sir, why did you teach that one? To tell the pain. To tell the traditional model how bad it is, right? Yes or no, na? Excited? Okay, now onwards you will prefer writing persistence logic in plain JDBC. Plain Hibernate. A Spring ORM providing abstraction. Let's write. What is best? Why? Why? I need not write any code. For basic code operation, even method declarations also not required. Anyhow, we make our interface extending from predefined interface. From there, it gets the method, implements the method according to one table and entity class. Everything is taken care by internally or not, guys. I hope you enjoyed this session, guys. Yeah, tell me. Implementation classes for custom repository interfaces will be generated dynamically, providing persistence logic for common methods inherited from predefined repository interfaces, and also for what? Custom method declaration. All these operations are taken care by Spring Data JPA by using in-memory proxy classes. Shall we compare what is the difference between normal class and in-memory proxy class, guys? You get the normal class. .java allocates memory in hard disk. After compilation, you will get .class file. It also allocates memory in hard disk. JVM loads the .class file, executes the .class file, output to the console. Interesting or not, guys? We simply get the output to the console or not, my dear? It's the normal class. .java in hard disk, .class in what? Hard disk, only loading and execution in the JVM memory. Super. Look at the proxy class, guys. In-memory proxy class. We run Spring Data JPA application. Proxy class source code is generated where? JVM memory. Compiled where? JVM memory. Class is loaded where? JVM memory. Execution happened where? JVM memory. Are we going to see that code, guys? Why? Code is generated in JVM memory. Compiled in JVM memory. Loaded in JVM memory. Executed in JVM memory. Can we see that code, guys? That's why. Spring Data JPA uses proxy design pattern. DP means design pattern. To generate implementation classes of programmer supplied DAO repository interfaces as in-memory proxy classes dynamically at what time? Runtime. That means while working with the Spring Data, the persistence layer just contains what? DAO repository interfaces having few custom method declaration, because the implementation classes will be generated dynamically at runtime as proxy classes. What classes, guys? A typical interface looks like this, guys. Check it out. Public interface iEmployee repo extends, what is that? Root repository employee comma integer. What is employee? Entity class name that is mapped with the table, right? Integer, the primary key related property type, guys. Primary key related property type. The @ID field pointing to PK column, boss. What is that? Pointing to PK. PK means what? Primary key column. Super. How many methods are there in code repository? Tell me. Who takes this interface? Spring Data JPA. Who implements implementation class for this interface? Spring Data JPA. As what? In-memory proxy class, right? Inside that class, total how many methods are visible? 12. How many methods are implemented? 12. Inside those method, according to which entity class, which table record logics are written, employee. Insert method is there, na? It will write the logic to insert the record into what? EMP table mapped with the employee class object. Because that's why we are mentioning entity class, guys. Suppose I don't like this 12 method, I want extra method. By following some naming convention, you declare the method. Those methods are taken by proxy class. For those methods also logics will be implemented or not, guys? Is it not interesting, Rababu? In the interface, some basic information I am giving. By taking that information, it is implementing logics for the method end to end or not? Logics for the method end to end or not, guys? Come on. Is it not interesting, Rababu? I want reply, boss. Predefined repository interfaces. Root repository, JPA repository, paging and sorting repository, Mongo repository. Okay. Mongo repository is specific to MongoDB database software. So final conclusion is what, guys? In Spring Data JPA, if you have 500 tables, what should I do? 500 tables related, 500 entity classes you have to take. 500 repository interfaces you have to develop. Specifying each entity class in each interface. Sleep it. After that, sleep. Anything else you have to do? What happens internally? Spring Data JPA generate how many proxy classes? Implementing how many repository interfaces? Implementing how many methods in each class? All the 12 methods if it is called repository. In those methods, with respect to which entity class, which table logics will be there? In the repository interface, if you mention X entity class, X related logic. Y entity class, Y related logic. Z entity class, Z related class. Anyhow, all these entity classes are mapped with the tables now, boss. So indirectly in each proxy class, one table related persistence logics we are writing or not? Interesting or not? Once again, in Spring Data JPA, I have 1,000 tables. How many entity classes I should take? How many repository interface I should take? In each repository interface, what should I mention? Each entity class name I should mention, right? After that, what should I do? Happily sleep. What Spring will do internally? Generates how many proxy classes? 1,000. Implementing how many interfaces? Each class one interface, 1,000 interface. Each class one interface, right? Inside that class, what is happening? Inherited methods from predefined interfaces will be implemented. Having logic of which table and which entity class? The one that is specified. The one that is specified. Is that clear, my dear? Understanding my statement, guys. Got the clarity, my dear? I want reply, boss. Super. I think final conclusion you understood nicely. After this, you think about going to JDBC, then Hibernate. Hey, let's adjust with the Spring ORM. Abstraction is there. You need not write all the lines. And when there is a provision to write no lines of code, who asked you to give discount now? Yes or no? Super. So, theory is okay. I'm excited to see practical. Practical, nothing will be there. One entity class, one interface. We'll start using logics in the service class. That's it. So, can I feel that in-memory proxy class? Yes, you can feel. I'm telling you, I have to prove now, boss. Definitely we can feel. We cannot see, but we can feel. Because while injecting, if you print get the class, you will get the class name now, boss. Sir, in-memory proxy class generated dynamically. You said you will inject these logics to service class. What you will inject, sir? Array, to inject any implementation class object, do I need to know implementation class name? I can implement by taking interface reference variable now, boss. This is what we have done these many days, right? Loose coupling, strategy design pattern, rule number 2. Here you can feel more perfectly, right? Who generates in-memory proxy class? JVM. Do I know class name? No. That comes at runtime. How can I type at compile time? Worst fellows. Yes or no? Na? Then how you will inject? How we are going to inject to service class? Whenever I want to inject implementation class object, am I taking ref property as a property type interface type implementation class type? Courier type or blue dot type we have taken? The engine type or diesel engine type we have taken? Okay, DAO interface type we have taken, implementation class type we have taken. Why are you not following same theory here? Yes or no? Na? Right, guys. Let me upload these notes. I thought of calling for Sunday class, guys, but still 7 p.m. students are not ready. Mostly they will be ready by next Sunday. Okay. For them, I think in 1-2 days code module will be completed. So then they will be ready for once I complete few classes in boot, so I can take some common topics. I can take some common topics like scheduling, batch programming. So many topics are there. We will work on them. Yes, guys. Tomorrow no session. Next class will be on what? Monday. What is your batch code? 16.8. Spring Boot Core. Yes, you are right. Data JPA. File upload. I hope everyone watched Lamba KPI videos. Spring, guys. Where is this? 618 1102. Spring Data JPI. This is what? 26. Chicky, when you brought your Fortuner, good. Is it the point? Is it the point to be discussed, guys? Fine. Okay, guys. I want to give something for this weekend first preparation, guys. Okay, let me give. Did I give debugging videos other day? Someone said that debugging is not over. Huh? You watch these videos, then I will do debugging on what? Mini project. You come up with this knowledge. Okay, then we will debug our mini project after having this knowledge, right? This is fundamental knowledge, guys. Spring Boot core project, already completed. You want soft copy? Soft copies you have to create, my dear. I will give. I will give when I feel when all completed the work. I will definitely give classroom application, but not when you expect. You have to create your own soft copies. Yeah, where is this? 11 a.m. What is this? Common videos and docs. Common videos and docs. 1 minute. Let me follow some order, guys. At the end only I will paste. Do you know IT industry? Debugging in what? Eclipse ID. This weekend, please watch and remind me. Are JRT batch? I'm just waiting, boss. My email ID, my Facebook group is there, na? Natraz Java Arena at gmail.com. Natraz Java Arena at gmail.com. Mostly after festival, they may start JRTP batch. and meeting for all